Imagine you're standing outside on a typical day. The sky's bright, the air is warm, and the sun shines as it always does. But then, in an instant, something impossible happens. The sun disappears. Not an eclipse, not a supernova. It just vanishes, without warning or trace. At first, nothing feels different. The sky is still lit, and Earth keeps spinning in its orbit. That's because both light and gravity take time to travel from the sun to Earth, about 8 minutes and 20 seconds. For that brief window, we'd still see the sunlight that left the sun 8 minutes ago. The warmth on our skin would still feel normal, and the sky would remain blue. No one would know that. Far away, the sun is already gone. But after those 8 minutes pass, reality would hit. Suddenly, the sky would go black in the middle of the day. Not the dark blue of night, but pitch black. Even stars might take a few seconds to appear clearly. Since our eyes wouldn't be adjusted yet, the moon would disappear too, because without the sun's light, we couldn't see its reflection. There would be no more sunrises, no more sunsets, just permanent darkness. The most immediate effect would be psychological. Panic would spread quickly as people realize something is terribly wrong. The loss of sunlight would cause a global blackout in all solar-powered systems. Temperatures wouldn't drop instantly, but the countdown to freezing would begin. Earth's surface heat, retained by the atmosphere and oceans, would slowly radiate away into space. At the exact same moment the sun's light disappears, something else vanishes. It's gravity. Since gravity also propagates at the speed of light, Earth would no longer feel the sun's pull. Without that gravitational anchor, Earth would shoot off into space in a straight line at about 30 kilometers per second, which is the speed it was orbiting. All the other planets would do the same. The entire solar system would disintegrate, planets, comets, and asteroids drifting off in different directions. Over time, their trajectories might bring them close to other stars, or they might wander alone through the vast emptiness between galaxies. Back on Earth, the temperature would start to drop dramatically within the first few days. Within a week, the average surface temperature would fall below freezing. Crops would die quickly without sunlight, and photosynthesis would stop. That means plants can no longer convert light into energy, cutting off the base of the food chain. Oxygen production would slow down, and carbon dioxide would begin to build. Animals that rely on warmth and food would begin to die. Humans would retreat indoors, relying on artificial heat sources. But without large-scale agriculture or power from solar energy, society would begin to collapse. Within a year, Earth's surface temperature would drop to around minus 73 degrees Celsius, 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The oceans would begin to freeze, starting at the top layers. However, they wouldn't freeze solid right away. Because water holds heat, and because Earth's core continues to generate geothermal energy, the deep ocean might remain liquid for thousands of years. Life near hydrothermal vents, tiny ecosystems fueled by the heat of Earth's interior, might survive long after the surface is dead. In theory, some humans could survive underground near geothermal sources, relying on nuclear power, artificial farms using LED lighting, or stored resources. But maintaining such systems without global infrastructure would be extremely difficult. Over time, even underground shelters would likely run out of supplies, or be overcome by cold, lack of oxygen, or breakdowns in energy systems. Earth would slowly become a frozen dark rock, drifting through interstellar space. Its atmosphere would begin to condense and freeze, falling as snow made of nitrogen and oxygen. Winds would die down, weather systems would cease, and the planet would fall into deep silence. The magnetic field would still exist, powered by the spinning of Earth's core. But with no solar wind to deflect, auroras would vanish. Satellites and space stations like the ISS would lose power and fall back to Earth or drift away. Any trace of human civilization on the surface would be buried in ice, preserved like fossils for billions of years. In the larger picture, the disappearance of the sun would destabilize the entire solar system. The asteroid belt would scatter, moons might break away from their planets, and gravitational chaos could lead to collisions between objects that were once stable. Over millions of years, these wandering bodies might become captured by other stars, or fall into black holes, or simply travel forever through the dark vacuum of space. Earth itself might eventually pass near another star, though the chances are astronomically low, and could be captured into a new orbit. But by then, whatever life once existed would be long gone. It's worth noting that this entire scenario is physically impossible in the real universe. The sun cannot just vanish. If it were to somehow collapse into a black hole, for example, its gravity would remain the same. Earth's orbit wouldn't change unless mass was lost in the process. And any supernova event would take hundreds of thousands to millions of years to unfold. The idea of the sun disappearing instantly is purely hypothetical. A thought experiment designed to explore how dependent life on Earth is on this one star, and that's perhaps the most humbling takeaway from this scenario. The sun, 150 million kilometers away, provides all the light, warmth, and energy that makes life possible on our planet. Every breath we take, every bite of food we eat, every ecosystem we depend on, all of it traces back to the sun. We often take its presence for granted, forgetting that in the cold vastness of space, stars like ours are not just sources of light, but engines of life. The disappearance of the sun wouldn't just mean darkness, it would mean the unraveling of everything we know. And so, even though the sun, isn't eternal, it has about 5 billion years of life left. We can be grateful for every sunrise and every sunset we still get to witness. Because in the grand scale of the universe, even something as reliable as the sun is a fragile gift. And its light is not just warmth, but survival.